Welcome back. Now, the UN chief Antonio Guterres has arrived in Iraq for his first visit there in 6 years. Guterres said he wanted to show solidarity with the country's democratic institutions after more than a year of political deadlock. Today he met with the Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani in Baghdad. Tomorrow he'll visit a camp for displaced people in the north and will then go to Erbil to meet with representatives of the regional government of Iraqi Kurdistan. Well, to talk more about the visit and the situation in Iraq more broadly, we're joined by Hussain Abdul-Hussain, Research Fellow at the FDD. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. The UN chief wants to support democracy in Iraq. That is not quite what Iraq's neighbour Iran wants, is it?
You're right. I don't think that's what Iran wants, and I don't think Iraq is going the way that the UN Secretary General wants it to go. I think his visit is a little bit too late. There's a dozen of issues that have gone wrong over the past few years. First and foremost, the election law that was first drafted by the UN now looks something very different and undemocratic. And then including the freedom of people in the country that's always threatened, political assassinations, you name it. I think that the scene is very far from democracy in Iraq, unfortunately.
Have the Americans dropped the ball on Iraq? Is it now just completely in Iran's orbit and their influence there has disappeared almost completely?
Quite the opposite. I think Iran has failed to control Iraq the way it wants to control Iraq, or at least the way it does control Lebanon. I think this is to the misfortune of the Iranian regime and to the good fortune of the Iraqis. The majority of the Shia in Iraq oppose the Iranian regime. The majority of the Shia, all Sunni Shia, the majority of the Iraqis, Sunni Shia and Kurds, are not happy with Iranian intervention in the regime. I think the faction that's loyal to the Iranian regime in Iraq is a minority faction. This was very clear during the last election. I think it's still clear now. And you have to keep in mind that at least 73 legislators in Iraqi parliament made it to parliament, even though they failed the election. And they only made it to parliament. These are the ones who support the Iranian regime. They made it to parliament after the resignation of the Sadr bloc.
And Antonio Guterres will also be headed to Erbil, the autonomous Kurdish north, described as something of a bright spot in the country.
Well, it's a very good move. I'm happy to see him go there. We know that Erbil has been under pressure, especially from Iran. It has suffered direct attacks from the IRGC, whether in form of drones or ballistic missiles. All the opposition of Iraq have moved from Baghdad to Erbil. Free thinkers, intellectuals, all of them live there, and that's what has brought immense Iranian pressure on Erbil. So it's a good step to see that the UN Secretary General recognizes Erbil and is making a visit there.
Hussain Abdul-Hussain, great to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, years of war and economic hardship have taken a toll on Iraq. Now, children as young as 8 are being forced to work physically demanding jobs. Our reporter Ariel Levin-Waldman has this report.